In this video, we're going to look at the 4 factors of production, their key features, and their involvement in the production process. So let's get started. In order to understand how the 4 factors of production actually fit into this whole business thing, we have to understand what a business is. A business is an organization that combines the factors of production to make products, goods or services which satisfy people's wants and needs. What is a good? So goods are tangible products made by businesses to be sold to customers, such as cars, clothes, so many things that you can buy. What are services? Services are intangible products such as banking or transport that are provided by businesses to customers. You can also have services that are provided by a business to another business, but we'll delve into that a bit later. So factors of production are those resources needed to produce goods and services. There are 4 factors of production and they are in limited supply, so they are scarce. Now, business activity. What does business activity comprise of? It combines the scarce factors of production, produces goods and services to satisfy wants and needs, and it also employs people. Let's get into the detail about the factors of production. So the first factor of production we're going to look at is land. No specific order required at all. You just have to know the factors of production. So land is the land itself, renewable and non-renewable resources of nature, such as coal, crude oil, and timber. Things from nature or the actual premises that a building is on, that's land. The building itself will be considered capital, which we will get to now. The next factor of production is labor. So that could be manual or skilled workers, anything from doctors to construction workers. Capital, and a lot of students make this mistake. They will tell me it's the money that the business or the owner has invested in the business. That is technically correct. In the full definition, it is part of the definition of capital. It's the money capital part of it, the finance capital of it, but it's not the capital we're going to look at here. We actually look at the actual fixed assets. So the man-made capital, so such as the physical capital that the business has invested their money into, such as machinery, factories, offices, vehicles, equipment. All of those things are seen as the actual man-made or physical capital that the business invested their money into. When you are posed with a question as to what is capital, don't say it's the money capital unless it's the finance part of it where we're looking at the capital invested in the business, which is part of owner's equity. But that's a story for another day. It's not what we're going to focus on in this lesson or in this video. The next one we're going to look at is the enterprise or the entrepreneur. I prefer the name entrepreneur or the term entrepreneur instead of enterprise because an enterprise can actually also be a firm, but Cambridge likes the word enterprise, so you are more than welcome to use enterprise instead of entrepreneur here. So the enterprise takes risks and combines the other 3 factors of production. So in order to produce goods and services. So it's the owner of the business that basically takes the other 3, land, labor, and capital, and actually combines them in order to make goods and services. So they are in charge of managing, decision making, and coordinating in this regard. Without the entrepreneur, the other 3 factors of production are basically worthless or have no purpose. So a concept that a lot of textbooks don't delve into is the factors of production's remuneration. Remuneration means payment. I get a lot of students, if I ask them, what is the remuneration for these factors of production? They say to me, money. Well, yeah, it's money, but specifically what type of payment, what type of money? For example, if we look at land, imagine you're a landlord. You own a lot of properties and you are renting them out. You're going to get rent income. Labor will receive either a wage or a salary. Then let's just quickly delve into the difference between a wage and a salary, basics. So a wage could be daily, weekly, hourly, and a salary is normally monthly. Capital could be receiving interest as their payment. For example, if you put money in the bank, you invested money in the bank, you should be receiving interest on that money. In this case, we are looking at the money capital part of things and not the man-made capital part of it. And then the entrepreneur, for doing so well and combining all these three factors of production, should be receiving a profit. State and explain 2 factors of production used by a car manufacturing business. And this will be for 4 marks. So you should be thinking, what are the 4 factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship or the enterprise. Now you could choose any 2 you wish, whatever you feel comfortable with. But the trick lies in being able to apply. So what I mean by that is we need to give an example of this factor of production. It's not good enough just stating the definition. We have to give an example. Say, for example, we chose labor. Now you could go and define what is labor, defined as human effort and skills, then give specific car manufacturing examples that we need to look at. For example, assembly workers building cars, engineers designing vehicle systems, ensuring safety, quality control inspectors checking for safety specifications. These are very specific to a car manufacturing business. I always say to students, imagine yourself in the position that you are working for a car manufacturer. So capital identifies machinery and equipment with detailed automotive examples. So we need to think car manufacturing. So what could we have in a car manufacturing business? So it's the robotic welding equipment, hydraulic presses for shaping metal panels, computerized testing equipment, factory buildings. Remember I said the buildings itself is not seen as land. The buildings on the land is seen as capital. The land that the building is on is seen as land. Let's look at the enterprise or the entrepreneur. So you can start with a definition for what the entrepreneur is. You say explains entrepreneur takes financial risks and make key decisions, which models to produce, the production organization, that's all part of his job or his or her job, plus coordinates all other factors to manufacture cars profitably. The whole idea behind a business is to make money. We say that businesses are motivated by the profit motive. If you chose land in this question, you could start lovely little definition for what is land. So identifies land as both physical location, so the actual land, like a farm, the actual land, and the natural resources. So factory premises spanning millions of square feet for assembly, so the actual ground or the actual plot that it's located on. Then provide specific natural resource examples such as you could say iron ore, steel, aluminium, you could say crude oil for plastics. For those of you interested in using these PowerPoint presentations, I will be making them available on my community. I will be posting a link below in the description. YouTube believes you'd like this other video, so be sure to check it out. See you in the next one. Bye bye.